So I've now uploaded over 2,000 videos since 2017 purely about VR content. But something I've never spoken about or made a video on is the best moments I've ever had in VR. And I find it quite strange that I haven't done this, because one of the things that happens is when I talk to people, friends, family, whoever about VR, you always want to mention like amazing things that have happened to you or amazing moments in games that maybe people don't know about exist in VR. For example, playing Call of Duty Zombies in Contractors. People are like, what the fuck? I didn't know you could do that. So yeah, today I just wanted to go through some of the moments that literally will probably stay with me forever. Like one of these moments, which was the London heist on PSVR in 2016. I went to an event and I just remember sitting in a van with a bald guy, and my first thought was to like try and open the door and just roll out the van, you know, like you would in GTA or something. But I remember opening the door and seeing the road and thinking like, fuck that. I don't want to get out of this van. I knew it wasn't real, but I don't know, something about it just made me think, no, I don't want to do that now. And I was just touching everything, and then all of a sudden we were having like shooting Uzis at these motorbikes. That was, I guess, the real moment that I realised VR was something far more special than just playing games on a flat screen. And I do still play games on a flat screen, but they have to be really special to keep my attention, as VR automatically gets 100% of my attention as soon as I'm in the headset. So the next one was when I actually got my PSVR and I took a whole week off work. And I'm sure some of you have experienced going into VR when it's daytime. So you put the headset on at daytime and then you take it off at nighttime. That's a pretty surreal moment anyway. But I'd been in VR for like, I don't know, the whole day doing bits and bobs, doing different things. And I remember playing Batman from start to finish. And there was a moment in it where you meet Croc. And I hope there's no spoilers here, but I'm just telling you, this was an absolutely amazing moment where it actually made me rip the headset off. And you're like in the sewers and he comes out of the water and he grabs the bars. And I just remember seeing that like the piercing yellow of his eyes in the headset. And I completely shit myself and I took the headset off. And then it was nighttime. And those two moments, like I had a real surreal feeling. Like I didn't feel like reality wasn't reality. It was a really weird moment that I won't ever forget, you know. And it kind of made me wonder, is VR safe? I was like, is this a really safe technology? Am I supposed to come out of here feeling like my hands aren't my hands and stuff? Next, there was Ghost of Tabor. I was up in the lighthouse, and this guy came up the stairs and he started shouting up,
"First fucking game, so please don't slot me." Hello?
You're friendly?
Yeah, cool. I ain't got fuck all, mate. It's my first ever game. And I'm glad I'm fucking bumped into an Englishman.
And I just remember thinking that moment in itself was pretty amazing. I could have killed him, obviously, if I wanted to, but instead I met this brand new player and we had a conversation, you know, and I helped him get some weapons and he went off on his way. But that's when I kind of thought, wow, Ghost of Tabor, or this particular genre of game, can work so well in VR. That was just a really cool moment for me, you know, just meeting someone who was brand new, trusted me, needed my help, and I helped him. The next one was being in Red Matter 2, seeing the Rings of Saturn, and especially on PSVR 2. Now, and it looks brilliant on every system, but seeing it at 120 hertz in the PSVR 2 headset was an amazing moment. You know, you land on like that launch pad thing, and I just looked up and I thought, this is incredible. And I think I edited this moment out of the video, because I just stood there for like 10 minutes just walking around thinking, this is peak, you know, this feels like a peak VR moment for me. And I don't know if anyone else felt like that. And obviously this video is about trying to get you guys to let me know your impressions. And one of my favorite things to talk about are people's first VR moments. You know, what was your most amazing moments? Another one for me was Anne Frank's house. I spoke about it recently in the Titanic VR review. That actually got me really emotional, you know, going through that girl's story, seeing the house, because it's almost like photogeometry and you go through a diary and stuff, and it's just a very, very sad story that I think only VR could kind of get across emotionally. So yeah, if you haven't tried that, definitely check that out. A more recent one was Orion Drift, and I think it's because of the player count. Seeing, like, I don't know how many people it was, 60, 70 people on this floating space station doing these assault courses, talking to me, that was incredible, you know, because even though everyone's like a robot, you know, they've got a robot face and stuff, you feel like you're meeting these people, and I think VR is very good at that. I've met people in VR and then met them in real life, and I feel like I've met them before. That's kind of why I wanted to mention this one. I don't know if you've had that, where you've become friends with someone in VR, you feel like you've actually met the person. And Orion Drift was one of the most recent moments of me just being amazed. And obviously I can't make this video without mentioning playing Lone Echo. Lone Echo was one of those games that pretty much looked like a movie, to be honest. It looked incredible. The voice acting was brilliant. Just experiencing zero gravity was another moment in VR where, even though you've only really got your hands to move around and stuff, that was another absolutely incredible moment. So another moment I think that everyone who's got PCVR at least has shared, and that's the beginning of Half-Life Alyx, where you're just standing on that balcony looking over City 17, and you got the Combine there and all the people on the streets, there's rubbish, there's pigeons, and that's another moment where you want to play the game, but you could easily just stand there and just take it all in. It's a breathtaking moment, and recently I experienced it again on Quest. It wasn't quite the same, but it still reminded me of that very first moment. The next one for me is more about, because I love retro games, MUVR, to have a whole bedroom to yourself with an unlimited amount of CRTs, depending on if your GPU can handle it. I've got my NES, my SNES, a Mega Drive, N64, PlayStation, Dreamcast. I got all these set up, and I remember turning them all on at once and just thinking, this is again another peak moment for me in my life in gaming. I just couldn't believe it's possible, you know, just putting a virtual PlayStation disc into a virtual PlayStation and just hearing all the correct noises. It's just unbelievable. You know, MUVR is one of those things that to me is still just pretty mind-blowing. Sticking with the retro format, I think another one, and this is all thanks to Team Beef, if you get Doom Quest, you can mod it, and one of the best mods that I ever used was actually playing the original Zelda on the NES in VR from first person. I think Zelda is one of the oldest gaming memories I have in existence. I can't remember many other games before this, and that was a very emotional moment for me, you know, being in that game. And that's what VR is all about, you know. That's the difference between playing MR, AR, flat screen games, is you are inside that game. So yeah, being inside an 8-bit NES game, which I absolutely loved, was incredible. And sticking with Zelda, experiencing Ocarina of Time in VRChat is another one that just brought back so many memories for me. I remember buying that game. I remember wrapping it for my brother for Christmas, and then I remember opening it before Christmas and playing it because I just wanted to complete it. I couldn't wait. It was one of the best games I'd ever played. Playing that, even though it's not the full game, going in there and experiencing Ocarina of Time from a first-person perspective is just incredible. And again, sticking with Zelda, I could carry on, was Breath of the Wild, going to the Great Plateau. Breath of the Wild for me is one of the best games I've ever played. Seeing that in VR was just jaw-dropping. Just absolutely jaw-dropping. It looks insane, and I still think Nintendo are going to come back to VR at some point. But yeah, like, I'm hoping some of these things you haven't experienced and you might not have known about, so I'd love you to go and check them out. And if you want to check any of the things I've spoken about, just literally type Gamertag VR in the game I'm talking about and you'll see it. Another one that was quite recent was the Halo VR mod. I know a lot of people get annoyed about game exclusives, but Halo for me was the reason I bought an Xbox. There was a Vorpex version of Halo, and I thought that was really cool. But actually playing Halo with 6-off controls, and that level where you like land on the beach on a pelican, absolutely unreal. Like, another reason that I just think, wow, like VR is, to me, it's the future of gaming, and we're doing it right now. But that to me was another breathtaking moment. And while I'm talking about mods, I think playing Returnal was another one that absolutely shocked me. It's genuinely a very hard game, and it's even harder in VR. There was little bits that I'd never noticed before, you know, like watching, it's not grass, I don't know what it is, like these alien vines sort of react to you, and when you charge up your shot, everything sort of gathers towards you and goes away when you release a shot. That was an amazing thing, and I kind of think to myself, I really hope that we get more official ports of games, because UEVR makes you realise that it can happen, and Returnal is a great experience and great proof that it can be done, and it works really, really well. And I think to close out this video, because I don't want it to be long, well, there's two things I want to close out this video with, was playing Metal Gear Solid in Boneworks. That again was absolutely fantastic. Stepping into one of my favourite games of all time on PlayStation in VR was an absolute mind-melting moment. That was absolutely brilliant. Loved it. And the last one was Phasmophobia. I've met these guys online. I was live streaming at the time, and they were very helpful. You know, it might have been my first time I'd ever even played the game. And there was a ghost that they basically said to me, he wouldn't react to a group. You had to be in the room on your own. And I was in the van watching these guys trying to coax this ghost so we could get a picture, and they were just being unsuccessful. So I said, look, I'll go and give it a go. And I went in there and I was saying his name, and he appeared, and I screamed like so loud that it actually like tore up my vocal cords for about a week.
Everyone's wrong to...
Oh shit! Fuck that, mate. I am out. Get me out. Where's the stairs? It was one of those moments where I just felt complete fear. And again, I just don't think you can get that stuff on a flat screen. And that goes for all horror games. Resident Evil 7, I can't play those games on a flat screen anymore because I've been in those games. I've emotionally experienced things that a flat screen can't give me. And I guess that's the whole premise of the video. You know, I'm hoping that there's something here you didn't know about. And if you love retro games, because I see the analytics of this channel, a lot of you guys are like 25 to 45. There's just some incredible things out there that just blow your mind. And yeah, that's why I love VR. You know, that's why I do this channel, and I just wanted to talk about some of them. So let me know your thoughts down in the comments. Let me know your like top peak VR moments that completely blow your mind. Remember to leave a like and subscribe. I'll see you on the next one.